Hey, Tony Gas is here popping in. Now, today we have an amazing sponsor. So make sure of the video, one of the students from the Birth Your Book course. Only those from the Birth Your Book course can sponsor a video. And today it is Miss Kimberly and her book. Unfortunately, I don't have my copy. It is called Dating Me. 10 questions to ask yourself. This helps you know if you're ready for a relationship, if you're ready to fall in love. And so Kimberly, I've been knowing her for a long time. She's certified life coach, author, wife. She's amazing. I'm gonna put the link to her book. Get this, and this is another example of how you can learn from someone else, but then be inspired to understand the lessons you've already learned from your life and then produce your book. So make sure you grab a copy of Kimberly's book. I believe in sowing in people because when our turn comes around, we always look to God and say, well, Lord, why isn't nobody supporting me? Why don't I have the type of support that I want or need? And then he asks us back, well, who did you support? How many people have you seen step out on faith and you didn't support? But more so than that, this is just a great book. Dating Me, 10 questions to ask yourself to know if you're ready to date, enter a relationship, or fall in love. And it was just released this year, June 23rd, 2022. So it's still hot off the press. You can get a paperback or you can get it on Kindle. So make sure you grab that, and I'll put the link in the description. Now, today I want to talk to you just in this theme, in line of asking yourself these questions. It just kind of got me to thinking about really understanding the work that we have to do, that internal work when you are dating yourself, when you are preparing for something. And this work is so painful because we may have to go through this space of really going within. And it's times where you got to go within and you have to see what you're about to do, what you're about to say, how you're about to allow yourself to feel, and then you got to address it. And a lot of times it's so hard because we're so used to living a certain way. We're so used to doing things a certain way. And so if something happens and you feel insecure and you're so used to responding in a certain way, responding from your fear, speaking from your fear. Like right now, today, my wife, she drove down. We're in Florida, the storm, but her grandmother is in the hospital and she needs to see her because we don't know what tomorrow holds. So she drove down, and of course, when I told my family she was driving down, she's driving by herself, she has made it there, she's safe. We didn't know if the roads would be flooded, if they would be blocked off. She didn't know if she would get 2 hours and get turned back around, but she made it there safely. And she stepped out on faith, not knowing if the Google Maps and the Apple Maps were properly updated. But her mom, of course, extremely scared, did not want her to go. And I was scared too, but I said, this means a lot to her. I got the boys. I know if it was my grandmother, I'll be, no matter what's going on, trying to make that move. Although I'm nervous, although I'm scared, and we can't take the boys because you don't want to make too big of a deal. You don't want to have too many people there. You don't have too many people around. And she needs time to process. My wife is different than a lot of women. She's very independent. She's very self-sufficient. She doesn't need any hand holding or coddling. And so I had to choose not to operate from fear and to just pray and to just trust. And as hard as that is for me being a protector, me being her husband, I'm very protective. But I had to just kind of relinquish that and sit back and trust that everything will work out. And so we have these personalities, And wherever yours is, you got to identify that weakness and you got to control that. You got to get control over yourself in that area because that is what will destroy your life. And listen, when you take self-control, for me, I'm an overthinker. And in my relationship, I may think about something that happened 10 years ago. And it's typically what we hear, men say women do, but it's a human thing depending on just how you are made up. And I may want to bring that up. So I have to get to the place to where I say, I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this. I got this little question, it's a little hole in this here situation that I remember. I need an answer to this. But then if I bring that up, whether it's with anybody, friend, family, spouse, I'm reopening that which we have healed and moved on from. So we thought. And I'll be reopening that. I'll be bringing, and then what is the end of it? Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to fire the person? Am I going to get a divorce? Am I going to stop talking to the friend? Like, what am I going to do differently other than just peel off the scab of this situation? And so the way the mind works, the mind will send you on a loop and you'll think about it all day long and you'll get through a half a day and then you'll break. You'll get through a whole day, then you'll break. And a lot of times it's us talking to ourselves. It's our insecurities. It's our worries. It's our fears. It's those things that we're going through that we're not really paying attention to. And it takes control of us. So you got to think about this. How am I insecure? Am I insecure? Am I jealous? Am I fearful? Am I spiteful? Am I hateful? And what comes from that place? Is it what you say? Is it what you do? Is it how you think? And I see this, and I look and I learn lessons from life. Like you'll see somebody. I saw a rapper. He was talking or artist. He was talking to other rappers, and he was saying, like, listen, guys, like we gotta be careful about what we say in this music. And I remember this young lady. She wrote a book. And I wish I would have published it. She was in another country and I was going to help her publish it. But she wrote a book. And if you happen to see this, to that young lady, write me back so we could get that book published. But she wrote a book and she had examples of so many people, celebrities, who spoke something into existence. And now this was one of them. It was public because Ocho Cinco, he mentioned that he was working with me in a interview. So that's public knowledge. And Evelyn Lozada, she mentioned several times that I was her life coach. But one of the examples she used in there, that one struck me. It was Ocho Cinco, where he said to the coach, hey, coach, I'm finna go get arrested. Just jokingly, he's on the team, on the Miami Dolphins. He says that jokingly. And then little do you know, an incident happens later with him and Evelyn, and they get into it and he gets arrested. And I believe she showed like a split in her forehead or something like that from their altercation, and he gets arrested. And that was one of the examples that she had in there. And she had other artists. It was like artists. I don't know if it was Amy Winehouse or if it was Bob Marley or it was just other music artists who they said in a lyric in a song that they're gonna die, that they're ready to die or they're gonna die, and then not long after they died. And it was just talking about the power of the tongue. It was talking about how we speak things and they come to pass. So be careful what you speak. And so I say that to say we have to identify that. So I'll see people who may be pessimistic and they think the worst. And then guess what? The worst happens. A lot of times I'll see people, they'll say and they'll speak negatively and then the worst happens. So I noticed in my life that a lot of my problems I caused myself. That a lot of the things that I would go through in my life, my mind caused it. and not having control over my mind. But what I realized, if I have control over my mind and I don't operate from a place of weakness, from a place of arrogance, from a place of insecurity, from a place of fear, from a place of self-hate or hate or disdain, jealousy, ignorance, if I don't operate from those places, my life becomes a whole lot better. I was just sitting here and I was looking through a contract, and I'm going through the contract. And as I'm going through the contract, there were certain things, certain times that I wanted to operate from a place of arrogance or from a place of ego. And I had to look at it and I had to say, well, no, if this is a business deal, if you about to do business, you got to give a little and you get a little. So this right here, this what I need. This right here, I'm gonna give you this. Okay, this right here, this what I need. This right here, I'm gonna give you this. And so you kind of get that back and forth. You get that back and forth and you're able to kind of come to terms and see where you're operating from, where it's been times to where you could be operating from the wrong place and you miss out on an opportunity. And this happens in every area of life. It's so many times where a woman sits down on a first date, and because she's too in her head, because she's too rehearsed, because she's rehearsed so much in the shower, in the mirror, because she's operating from the wrong place, she could meet a man that's husband material and run him off with her false personality, with a fake personality. It's not even her. To where just her being herself, whatever she is, would have been perfect. And so I had to think about that too, because I look at that and I see that happen. The same thing with men. Men trying to be a certain way, push a woman away. So I had to look and I had to say, okay, Tony, when you be yourself and you truly operating from the right place, who doesn't like you? Like, who wouldn't like you? Like, if a person don't like you when you being you, knowing you a good person, knowing you humble, knowing you kind, then that's something wrong with them. But when you operating from the wrong place, then okay, you're gonna get different results. And so I want you to take this time and really, really lock in. Really lock in and focus. And that's also why I want you to get this here book, Dating Me, 10 questions to ask yourself to know if you're ready to date, enter a relationship, or fall in love. And the reason being too is because you'll go through this, a married woman. So if you single or you dating, you're going to see how she got across that broom, how she got to jump that broom. And them questions, it may be a question that you already asked yourself, but to see that she put that question in there, it's confirmation that you asking yourself the right question, because she's married. And it's a lot of single women who want to be married. It's a lot of women in a relationship who want to be married, but may not see that blind spot. And so that's another reason why I want to put this book with this video, is because I'm seeing this change my life in a small way right now, but it's the change is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to continue to grow. The change is going to continue to grow, because when you operating from the place you know you're supposed to be operating in, you set up for success. You set up for blessings, because you know you need to be humble. You know you need to be positive. You know you need to have faith. You know you need to be kind. You know you need to be slow to anger. You need to be patient. You know all of these things, but so often you don't do it because you get caught up in gossip, backbiting, jealousy, envy, greed. Get caught up in these other fear, anxiety, worry, depression, stress, anger. You get caught up in all these other things, and it blocks your blessings. It derails your blessings. It throws you off, and you end up losing. You end up losing in life when you could be winning in life. And it's so often that I see people, and me, I'm an observer. And it's so often that I could talk to somebody and I could see exactly why they failing in life, why they not where they're supposed to be in life. And then I can't see that in myself. But if I really sit down and I take the time, I could see why I'm where I am in my life and how I could get to the next level. And it's being shown to me now. So now it's being shown to me, and it's a couple things, because I'm like, okay, this right here, and this right here, Tony, this is from insecurity. This is from insecurity. This is from not loving yourself. This is from allowing someone to make you feel less than. And then this over here is a defense mechanism of the insecurity. So you go from being insecure to being arrogant. But the arrogance is really just you showing your fangs because you don't really value and love yourself in the way that you should. But see, when you value and love yourself in the way that you should, what you're asking for or what you're doing, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to come from a different place. It's going to come from a different place, and it's going to be because of a different reason, because you are actually saying, this is from self-love. This isn't from fear. This isn't from insecurity. This is from self-love. This is what I need to make this here happen. This is what I need for you to make sure you know that I love and respect me. This is what I'm going to need. Versus having to get nasty, be condescending, say rude stuff, pat myself on the back. And this is the type of introspection and the inner work, the deep work that needs to be done. So as you're doing this, get your little resources together, put things together, and figure out how you're going to make it happen. And you pull pieces. You watch this video 2 more times. If you can afford $20, $25 for the paperback of Dating Me, click the link in the description, grab that book, get you a notebook. You might get you a couple other videos. You put some things together and you start to evaluate yourself. And don't stop evaluating yourself till you get to the root. Until you get to the root of your issues, don't stop evaluating yourself. Get all the way there and realize where that childhood stuff, where that's affecting you. That ex-relationship, that past relationship, where that's affecting you. That insecurity, where that's affecting you. Get all the way there to that root and then do that work. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. And we will talk soon. Oh, thank you for your prayers on this here storm. We made it through. My family is without power, hoping they power. One of my friend lost his boat, but just drifted away, got sent away, by the storm, lost his boat. Or maybe he didn't explain what exactly happened. He just wrote, I lost my boat. And them boats expensive. And he got the money for an expensive one. So I know he ain't cut no corners on his. Whew, I'm just like, man. And there's a lot of loss, a lot of damage. God kept us, God kept us safe. We didn't even lose power. I had a young kid putting up the screen, over the pool. You know how you got the pool and you know how you got the screened in thing? I lost like 3 or 4 screens because they weren't put up properly. The other ones that's up there properly, nothing happened to them. So I need to call that company and say, listen, the only screens I lost is the brand new ones that y'all just put up. The ones from 2002 still up there. But I ain't gonna trip because they're gonna say, well, duh, you lost it. It's a storm. I'm like, why ain't lose the rest of them? But I ain't gonna worry about it. And they charge you $250 per screen. So that's $750 to $1,000 that's finna cost me. And but to see what happened in Fort Myers, Florida, to see what happened in Naples, Florida, to see what happened to my family, just them not having power, and me, my household, we never lost power. It just like, all I can do is thank the Lord and pray for those that's going through, because some people lost their whole life. Some people lost their entire, their only asset was their home, and they lost that. And you never know if a person home insurance is canceled or expired, or they didn't pay the bill for the last couple of months because in a recession. You don't know if the company gonna pay out. You don't know what type of insurance. So these things, and those of y'all who went through Katrina and other storms, y'all know exactly how this could be. So y'all just count your blessings. If you're not in it, and even if you is in it, if you in it and you went through it and you able to see this video one day, that's a blessing. Just count your blessings. We got to have more of spirit of gratitude, attitude of gratitude that somebody coined very greatly. God bless you. We'll talk soon.